Well, we aren't doing another show until when?
Well, we are live.
Hello.
Live. What do you mean, hello? Who are you talking to? You're not.
Because I just asked you a question, and I didn't know if they heard the last part of my question.
I don't think they heard it.
So then I said hello.
Well, yes, you did. Are you excited about this? Now, you'd never seen this film.
I had never seen this.
I know. Wow. Well, we're going to talk about it.
Yes, we are.
Very excited. This is our 112th episode.
112. Wow.
I know. Can you believe it? I can't believe born of COVID, and COVID is still here.
And we're still doing the show.
And we're still doing the show. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude. To you. It is your show, after all, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
Yes.
And who are you?
I'm Elysabeth Gwendolyn Belle, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and the enchantress of entertainment.
The enchantress of entertainment.
And those were names given to me. I didn't come up with those.
No, it's important. You can't call yourself something.
No, you can't.
You have to have it given. You have to be bequeathed.
Yes.
And somebody has to give you the name.
They do.
Because, then people would accuse us of being more pretentious than we already are.
Yeah, yes.
So you don't want that.
I don't want that.
No, it wouldn't want that.
So I wanted to clarify. I did not give those names to myself.
Oh, I know that. But do they know that? So we're talking about this movie Tremors that's 31 years old this year.
Yeah.
Came out in 1990, spawned many sequels and a short-lived television series.
Oh, really?
On the Sci-Fi Channel in 2003.
Wow.
And Michael Gross is still in them.
Really?
Yeah, he's still in them.
He's still in
He's
them?
being employed still.
To this day?
Well, there was one that came out in October.
You're kidding.
I'm not.
And he was in it.
I don't know if he was in it. I just know that I didn't, you know what, to be honest, I didn't do research far enough in to see if he was in that one. I think that there's no reason to believe he wasn't.
Well, he wasn't doing Family Ties anymore.
He could be, though. With the way things are going, you just never know what show's going to come back.
He could be doing Family Ties by himself at his house.
Don't you think we should start to drink?
I do.
I think we should. Tonight, we have, I think we've had this before.
We have.
This is Montepulciano de Abruzzo.
Yeah, it's one from the Thrive Market Organic. They send a pack of 6 wines, and it's always the same six wine.
Well, it's
six
a
wines.
Fonte Barco. It's quite good. So there you go. So why don't you give me your glass, hun?
I will, hun.
Pour it up for you. There you are.
Why, thank you.
So, Tremors is sort of an interesting film. It was directed by Ron Underwood, and it was produced by Gail Ann Hurd of Terminator and Aliens fame, former wife of James Cameron, a woman I've actually met before, a long time ago. She was one of the more impressive people I ever met in Hollywood. Very, very smart. And cheers to this film.
Cheers.
Cheers to the movie.
Cheers to Tremors.
And I think what I really like about this film is it's just fun.
It is fun.
There's no pretentiousness to it. I mean, this is just, they set out, again.
It's fun, but it's not fun at the expense of the characters, I think.
No.
The characters are not stupid. One thing I hate about certain movies is how stupid they make the characters. The characters make stupid mistakes, but in this film, there really isn't much stupidity.
No,
which I appreciate.
And you know what? It could have gone the other way.
It could have.
Because we're introduced early on to Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward. And I mean, I love Fred Ward. He was Gus Grissom in The Right Stuff. He played Remo Williams. Some people said he could have played Wolverine because he's short. But he's got that gruff. He was also in a movie I love from mid-'80s called Secret Admirer that I love.
Yeah, I recognized him.
And then, of course, you have Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, whom I've met in person.
I know you have. But, he had, he was in Animal House in 78, one of his first roles. Then he was, of course, Ren McCormack in Footloose in 84, which was...
I have to confess.
I can't... Tell the crowd at home what you've never seen.
I've never seen Footloose.
You've never cut loose, Footloose.
I mean, I loved the music.
Well, let's hear it for the boy.
It was on the radio all the time.
It was, but how could you have never seen Footloose?
When did it come out?
In 84.
I was pretty young.
I think it was 84. It might be 85. I think 84.
I mean, I was 12.
Yeah, but that was like, I mean, every 12-year-old girl's fantasy was Ren McCormack, a dancing, handsome kid.
You know what? It might have been, my dad went through phases of being conservative, and he would go through phases. It might have been my dad's conservative phase.
So your dad might have been a character in Footloose. He might have been the John Lithgow character.
Absolutely.
No dancing in this town.
Yes.
This is a dance-free town.
Well, I was raised Adventist, so...
Did the Adventists not dance?
No dancing.
No
dancing, no jewelry.
Wait a minute.
No
Is that because that lady that wrote the crazy book?
Ellen White.
Ellen White, yeah.
The lady who wrote the
She's the lady who wrote the crazy book.
Anyway, I don't want to get into this.
We won't get into the Adventist history, but like the Adventists, you can't dance and you can't wear jewelry.
Well, back then.
How is anyone going to get laid?
Now they do. Well, you couldn't do that either.
You couldn't do that either. Well, what a religion. Woo, let's have fun. I guess it wouldn't be called Adventist, would it, if it was something else?
Right.
So anyway, you grew up in a Footloose kind of a household.
I did.
But you never saw Footloose. So you didn't see Kevin. Well, Kevin Bacon, you know, his career, he's always kind of been up and down. He's sometimes been a leading man, you know, and then sometimes he's not.
It's true.
And it was like he was part of the Rat Pack, kind of. You know, St. Elmo's Fire kind of people. Flatliners, Kevin Bacon. Obsessed doctor. You know, so his 80s career, Kevin Bacon's 80s career, he was a pretty good... I mean, he was a sort of a mainstay of the 80s.
He was.
And he was a leading man that I always liked.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this was, for him, it was a starring role. I mean, he was the co-lead with Fred Ward, but he was really the lead in the film. Yeah. And I thought what I really liked about this movie is when you meet those characters, hang on, let me get the, Val and Earl. But Val, remember, Val is short for Valentine. Valentine McKee is his name. And then there's Earl Bassett. They start out like they're yokel dudes. Men.
They just like do odd jobs here and there.
And they could have been played to be dumb.
I don't know how. Right.
And what I like
is
they're not dumb. They really do know how to do everything. But they're like the fix-it men of this just shithole, horrible...
It's like there's... How many people who live in this town?
14, I think.
How many odd jobs could there possibly be? Which is why they want to leave.
Well, yes. They want to leave. They want to get the hell out of Dodge. But I think the town wouldn't survive without them. But this movie has a really interesting cast. You have like Victor Wong... He's the Chinese proprietor of the local mercantile or the drugstore, the one store that has everything.
They did him dirty though.
They did do him dirty, but you gotta love Victor Wong because of
Loved
Big Trouble.
Him. I didn't want him to die.
Big Trouble in Little China and Prince of Darkness. You know, the John Carpenter 1-2 punch from 1986 and 87. Good to see Victor Wong in a movie like this again. I love him, but it's cool that he was in there. And then you've got. Of course, Reba McEntire, the country music star, is the wife of Michael Gross.
Right.
And they're like the survivalists.
Oh, my goodness, yes. They have the generator and the bombs and the guns, like a whole wall of guns. He said they had 5 years' worth of food.
Oh, yeah.
I would say they were Y2Kers, but it was way before Y2K.
No, this was 1990. but I think the idea of a survivalist, you know, that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Very American, kind of a American.
They usually like to be alone up in the woods.
Well, they were. They were up and alone in that town.
But in the desert?
Well,
you can't really hide in the desert.
They're in the high desert of Nevada in perfection.
Perfection.
And this town is about the furthest from perfection as can be.
Yeah.
So, and then of course we meet the love interest. The college student, she's a seismologist, out studying, and of course, what I like about that, is there's this great moment in the beginning of the film where Kevin Bacon's talking about, well, I hope she's blonde and has green eyes and big boobs and her legs up to here, And you get a woman that is not necessarily conventionally beautiful, but she's attractive.
She's cute.
And she's cute. She looks like, but she's not what Kevin Bacon wants. But I like the fact that they went in that direction. You know, they make her
too.
they make her a believable. Like all the characters are just skirting the line of parody.
It could have gone the wrong way, but it didn't.
Yeah, you've got the dickhead teenage kid
that kid, like, that confused me. That perplexed me.
Whose kid is he?
Whose kid he didn't belong to anyone, yet he had a house and he lived alone and he was this kid that, what?
Yeah, and then we have little Ariana Richards as Mindy.
Mindy.
Pre Jurassic Park Ariana Richards.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
3 years before she was menaced by dinosaurs, she gets menaced by graboids.
I didn't realize it was the same girl.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes, it's the same girl. And, no, I mean, I think that, you know, that, what again, this movie feels like the last hurrah of 80s fantasy cinema.
Yeah.
Because while this might seem strange, it's not like Back to the Future, but the tone is like
the
Back
music,
to the Future.
The pacing, the moments of tenseness, you know, they all felt like, you're right.
Yeah,
like
it's got a nice symphonic score. Yeah.
And even there was a moment where I felt like, I even turned to you and I said, is this a Disney movie?
You did.
It felt like a Disney movie.
No,
combined with Jaws on land.
I don't know why, but it feels like, I mean, Amblin didn't make this movie, but it feels like whenever I think about this movie, I always think that it would have made a great double feature with Arachnophobia.
I haven't seen that.
Did you never saw Arachnophobia?
Mm-mm.
Well, as you might imagine, Arachnophobia is about spiders. But I mean,
I could guess that.
It has. There's not a cynical bone in this movie's body. I mean, this is like family entertainment, but yet it's got monsters. It's got beheadings.
Yeah.
It's got a guy who died, an old man who died of dehydration in a climbs the tower. I mean, it doesn't pull its punches, you know, in terms of killing people.
But it's not super gory either.
No, it's fun gore.
It's fun gore because it's like goopy and runny and it's orange.
Yeah, yeah. And so our two characters, in the course of a day in their life, they're trying to get out of town, but they keep getting harangued into doing something.
Yeah.
But then they realize something's rotten in Denmark.
Right.
Very quickly.
Yes.
They keep coming across, there's missing people, there's dead bodies in strange places.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they find out there's graboids.
There's some weird shit going down.
But you know what I also love about this? The movie takes place entirely in broad daylight in only a matter of hours.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I think there's one
true.
Day passes, or is it the same day? I don't.
It's the same day.
No, because night passes, because BB Besh.
That's right.
Carol Marcus, the doctor, and she's.
It's 2 days because they end up sleeping on the rocks.
Right, they sleep on the rocks. So no, wait, it's actually then, it would be 3 days because the doctor, they get killed at night.
I think that's the same night.
No, it isn't. Because they don't find her until the next day. They find the car buried in the ground on the next day.
Before they sleep on the rocks?
Yes.
Okay, so 3 days.
So it's like 3 days. It takes place over 3 days. But I like the fact that, like, something bad will happen at night and then they just cut to daylight. So most of the movie takes place in broad daylight. There's nothing ever happens in the shadows.
No.
And they do a really good job. Like when BB Besh gets in the car. And remember, you see the point of view from the monster, and there's that great moment. Even though she shuts the door, it's really jarring because it's like first monster point of view, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that you see the monster's point of view when they're underground.
Yeah,
you know, but it doesn't matter. You go with it.
I kind of liked it because you could see how they were digging tunnels.
Right, they would cut to these shots of them digging.
And they were very fast at it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
So it's just, I mean, I find this. It's hard for me. I laugh when I think about this, but I find this movie delightful.
It is. I agree.
It's just a delightful film. Now, having come to this, and you know, you and Julia went through your period when you started. You never saw horror films. You started watching these movies. How does this compare to other creature features for you?
I mean, I haven't seen that many. I think when we started watching horror, we started with, the film we did, American Werewolf in London.
American Werewolf in London.
That's what we started with.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd seen other monster movies
Yeah.
before then. You'd seen the Conjuring movies, and you love Insidious too.
Well, after, not before.
Right, but you'd
Those
seen
are
these.
scary.
They are. You didn't think this was scary?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I jumped because you're tense. Like there's this thing coming at you. If there's gonna be a jump scare, I'm gonna jump.
I mean, okay.
But
I
I wasn't afraid. It didn't feel like a horror film.
It didn't feel like it's a monster. It defines horror movie. There's
Yeah.
monsters under the earth that are coming to get you.
It wasn't scary. It was tense.
It was tense. All right, tense. But you liked it.
I did like it.
What did you think of the creature design?
Yeah, I mean, it made sense to me. I mean, there was like this horn on the front that could, dig through the earth, and the little scales on its back, so it could push through the earth.
What did you think about like the three Medusa snake tongues?
They were very phallic-like.
They were phallic-like. Little hentai going on there.
They were, yeah.
Well, I mean, did you find it scary or goofy?
A little goofy.
So
why? Did you think they were scary?
No, it's funny because I was curious. To be honest, I haven't seen this movie much.
Oh, okay.
So I've shown this before, but I've never owned Tremors. I was never the biggest fan of this movie, to be honest. And this Arrow, a special edition, was irresistible. I mean, it is a really beautiful package. The transfer is great. There's lots of special features. There's a really nice booklet, as I've shown this before, and it's a great package. So, I tend to want to purchase every Arrow monster movie or genre film because they do such a good job. And I'm glad I got this. I mean, I'd never owned this movie before. I never had it on Laserdisc. I never had it on DVD. And I think I only saw it twice. So I hadn't seen this movie. A lot of people love this movie. But I was like, it was even when I first saw it, because I saw it opening night. I was like, well, yeah, I'd go to any genre movie. I'd go opening night. And if there was two, I would go to one on one night and then that one on the. I never missed a science fiction, fantasy, and horror film when I was younger. And I liked the movie, but it was only okay.
Yeah.
Like I remember, but watching it now, I liked it a lot more. I mean,
it's charming.
It is charming, and it's unrelenting. It's lightning paced. Even though it's like 96 minutes long, it feels like it just whips by.
Yeah, it's constantly coming at them, and you even think like they try all kinds of things, and then you're like, well, I don't even know how they're going to get out of this.
Right. And all the plans they make. I mean, what I do like is that they're smart characters. They're smart. They never do things that are dumb. Yeah. And I really like throughout the relationship, the movie, the core of the film is Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward's Earl and Val, and you really like them. You like how they do the rock paper scissors. Yes. I mean, I know these are. It could feel very much like this is very much a screen. The screenwriters, S.S. Wilson, and they clearly wrote this movie to sell. They're like, we're going to write a monster movie that checks all the studio boxes.
It definitely did. But it works because, like I said, the characters aren't written stupidly. Although I wouldn't say they're brilliant, but they're sensible, like a normal, regular person. And they have great chemistry, the two of them. I think they're great. They're a great pair.
They're a great pair.
So,
and I think most of the characters are. I mean, I believe them. They're, even though it's this kind of charming Amblin-esque, Steven Spielberg-esque. It's like the movie he didn't produce.
Yeah.
He could have, but he didn't. And like Gremlins or Batteries Not Included, or it feels like it's part of there's like that Arachnophobia is a Spielberg production, but
is it?
It feels like it could belong in that. But
yes,
but it still works.
I think that's what I was thinking when I asked you if it was a Disney movie. I was thinking more like a Spielberg movie. It definitely feels like a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, no, it does. And I really like the milieu. I like this this town that's nestled between the mountains, and then there's this kind of cliff.
Yeah.
You know, so there's. I believed it. I believed the environment.
I believed it, except for I don't know how they would have cattle or sheep in a desert. Like what? Cattle and sheep eat a lot of vegetation. I don't know.
Well, they had to have something get slaughtered in the beginning of the movie. Apparently, those sheep weren't long for the world anyway.
And then they were planting things in the sand.
Well,
I don't know what kind of garden you could have in the sand.
I mean, irrigation. You know, it's.
I guess.
But that didn't bother me. You know,
It didn't bother me either. But I was like, what are those poor sheep eating?
Yeah. But no, I just thoroughly enjoyed this film because we don't like. It's very interesting to watch. Like 80s genre cinema, I think if you really look at it in terms of how it's structured, I think we've either become too cynical or in the you know what it really is, now that we all have smartphones and all that, you have to reconceptualize your horror movies. Because if you've got a smartphone, it's really hard not to contact, like in this thing, all they have to do is eat through the phone lines and you're cut off. Like, I believe the phone doesn't work.
Right.
I believe that in this movie.
And that's probably why a lot of movies are set back before cell phones were a real thing, so...
Well, but I also think, you know, when we have the idea that we live in the social media world now, you're never cut off.
Never.
You know, you're never... And you have to, as a filmmaker, you have to figure out ways around that. You have to incorporate that into whatever horrific story that you want to tell. Like, how do you get rid of somebody? How do you get rid of their phone? How do you take them out of where there's cell service? I mean, I think as far as horror films go, it's a real problem.
It's a problem.
Like, I mean, it's a real problem. Like, how do you know that if you're being stalked that somebody hasn't already GPSed their location and clicked it off? I mean, if you're being stalked by a psycho killer, I mean, I don't think that Texas Chainsaw Massacre could ever happen now, because you would just, you know, your last location would be pinged. Well, we'll have to. I don't know if you're gonna like that, but yeah. And this movie, it's kind of refreshing to go back and you're like, oh yeah, you know, it's 1990. It's period specific.
It is.
And there's one phone. Like, I've always thought, driving to Las Vegas, I mean, I used to drive to Las Vegas a lot. And, you know, when you get past, say, Barstow, there's very little, and you see these, like, little...
Yeah.
And there's little... Who lives out here? Like
right, and then you
like, what are they doing out here?
You check your gas, because you're like, oh, I don't know how far away the next gas station is. I better make sure that I have gas before I go through this stretch of the desert.
Yeah, or it's like if you get on the 10 and you're going to Arizona, like I used to, when my dad lived in Arizona, I drove to Arizona all the time.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. You're in the middle of the desert, and then there's like this little... Why do you live out? Yeah. What do you do out here? On the way
to Vegas, the huge dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like this weird museum. Is it the dinosaur
museum?
Well,
that was on the way to weird. Palm Springs.
Oh, Palm Springs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that place is in the middle of... There's a lot of stuff there.
Really? It feels like it's like the only thing there.
No, it's within 10 minutes. No,
okay.
You just drive. You got the Morongo.
When you're on the freeway, like,
yeah,
you just see the giant dinosaur, and you're like, oh.
But I mean, I like how, like, all the characters come together at the end. They're working together, you know, and for the most part, they survive, and you like all these characters. Like, they didn't have to put, like, even in Aliens. You know, the movie Aliens.
Yeah. You've
got the Bill Paxton. We're in some real pretty shit now. Like, there's always the hysterical person that you know is going to lead somebody down into their doom, or they're going to be doomed. You kind of have that in the teenage boy, but even he is...
But even he smartens up after he is almost eaten.
Yeah, he's not stupid.
No. But I don't know who that kid belongs to or why he lives alone.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused. I'm like, I can't consult.
In the middle of the desert, why is there a teenage kid?
Well, now let me ask you this. I mean, do you think a movie like this today, it watching this, it struck me there's a purity to this movie.
There is.
And an innocence, even.
There is.
There's an innocence to this
There's an
film
innocence.
that...
And you know what? I miss that in movies.
I do too.
Really do. Which is why I still really love kids' movies. I love kids' movies because of that innocence.
Yeah, I mean... But, you know, when I think about innocence, I think about like a John Hughes movie. You know, if you think about movies like Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
Like, no one's getting raped in Pretty in Pink. No one's being slipped a roofie. There was a purity, like there didn't have to be societal darkness that permeated. There could be somebody who's a dick.
Right.
Like James Spader, who I love in Pretty in Pink, is such a dick. Yeah. He's such a dick, but he's a dick in like a nice, he's not going to like abuse somebody.
Right.
And now, I mean, he will abuse you emotionally and tell you you're...
Well, I think because back then, even if you were a bad guy and you were mean, like the mean girl, you still had a certain sense of respect. Like, there were certain lines you wouldn't cross.
John Hughes made movies in a time where teenagers didn't shoot up their high school.
Right.
And, I mean, we now live in a world... Our world has become, whether it's post-9/11, post-Columbine, the horrors of the real world. Like, they would never encroach in high schools, at least not the way we... It was either cliques, you know, it's...
And it was a time where if you disrespected your teacher or you broke the rules, you would get in trouble. Kids don't get in trouble anymore.
Well, you
because
can't.
The parents come down on them if their kid gets in trouble. So it was a time where you would get detention, or you would be sent to the principal's office, or you would get in trouble. And your parents would be mad at you for getting in trouble.
Oh, it was never the teacher's fault.
It's not like that now.
No. And I think that's definitely affected the kind of entertainment that we're going to get. Yet, and also, you know, every kid is on some kind of prescription medication for their moods. I mean, we didn't have that. Like, there was hyperactivity. My sister would take... Nowadays, the world is just a much... And you know what? I feel like if this were to happen today, I feel like all the characters would die.
Yes.
Like
they
if
would have to.
If there was a real Perfection Arizona and this was happening, people would divide up amongst political parties, you know, and then they would be all yell at each other, and in not working together, they'd all get killed. I that's what I feel would happen. I mean, like, back in the day, that was what was happening in that town. What everybody was like thinking, it wasn't about them. It was about, okay, we're in this situation. How can we solve this problem? And even though this town was very small, everybody was connected. Like, there was this community of people, and they might have been wacky different people, but Val and Earl know everybody.
Well, they know. There's like 14 people.
Right, but I mean,
town.
but there's no, like, they didn't. Everybody was respected, no matter who they were.
Oh yeah.
Everybody, there was respect.
Well, it was like a big family.
Yeah. Yes. But now there's such, you know, in this film, they would have to set up some dicks, some people that would be cannon fodder for the monsters.
Yeah.
Like, that would be eaten, and you'd sit there and go, they deserve to die.
There would be
Those
bad guy.
assholes deserved it.
Yeah. But there were no bad guys in this movie. You didn't want anyone to die.
No, you didn't. And I felt that was very refreshing.
That was.
And it was funny.
Because you're right. Nowadays, there has to be some bad guy who gets the brunt of it.
Yeah, and it's cliche. That person who's set up to be the douche canoe is so cliche now. And it's like, oh, okay, well, he's going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a lot harder to make you love a bunch of characters. Like, look, even in Jaws, you go back to Jaws, and you love Quint, Hooper, and Brody.
You do.
And even though they might, like Hooper and Brody are, I mean, Hooper and Quint have a thing going, because you're a city boy, Hooper, look at those hands, you know, but you love all three of those. As an audience member, you don't want any of them to die.
No, you really don't.
And now in horror films, I feel like in setting up the audience to want to root for the death of a person, makes you as an audience member complicit. If you're waiting for somebody to die because they deserve it, that's bad.
What does that say about our society?
Well, I absolutely, and
it comes back to, we have lost respect for each other.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about this movie is the screenwriters. They make sure you like all these people.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one is a sacrificial lamb.
No.
Even the douchebag kid,
Right.
who's tricking somebody. You don't want. You're like,
Although there's that one guy, you don't even know his name, who ends up on the top of a trailer. He gets eaten. See, you don't even remember his name.
yeah, but he's not like a bad person.
No, he's not a bad person.
And the characters you don't like. I even feel bad for the old man who's on top of the power.
Right.
You're like,
They
oh,
cared about him, obviously. He
and
went
what
up there
a
to get
horrible
him.
way to die. He was staying away from the graboids, and you find out later they would never go away.
Yeah.
So there's nothing he could
got
do.
dehydrated and died.
What a horrible, horrible way to go.
So horrible.
So bad. So I mean, but you like the film.
I did. I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
Is it surprising to you that it spawned so many sequels?
No, I'm not surprised.
Like, let me just run this down because I want to.
Did you see them all?
No, I have never seen any of the sequels to this movie, nor did I see the television series. And I only saw this movie. This is not a touchstone for me. So okay, there's Tremors 1990, the first one. Tremors 2 Aftershocks in 96. Tremors 3 Back to Perfection in 2001. Tremors 4 The Legend Begins in 2004. Tremors 5 Bloodlines in 2015. Tremors A Cold Day in Hell from 2018. And Tremors Shrieker Island.
That's 2020.
And let me just say this.
Did it come out?
On December 13th, 2018, Michael Gross confirmed that Universal had ordered a 7th entry in the series and that he would return to star, stating Tremors fans will be delighted to know I've just agreed to the terms of a contract for a 7th film.
Wow.
Wow.
How old is he now?
I don't know, but then the TV series ran 13 episodes and it was on the Sci-Fi Channel and from March 2003 to August 2003.
So how many of these was Kevin Bacon in? Just
one. Yeah. Fred Ward comes back. Fred Ward comes back in the second one. Michael Gross and Helen Shaver. And they introduced a new character called the Shriekers. Michael Gross is in the third one. Michael Gross is in the fourth one.
Sounds like he was in all
Michael
of
Gross
them.
and Jamie Kennedy were in the fifth one. Michael Gross was in the
What about Reba?
sixth one. No.
So what? She ends up dying, or?
I guess maybe they get divorced. I don't know. I'm not up on my Tremors canon. So, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. Other than the fact that we both like this.
Yeah.
Well, that's
fun.
good. I mean, it was fun.
I enjoyed it. It made me feel like I was a teenager.
Well, which is always a good thing. Any
It
movie
is.
that inspires the youth.
Yeah. This came out when I graduated from high school.
So, I mean, other than the fact that we really like the film, we like the effects, we like the milieu, I like the direction. It's one of those films where I don't think we're at odds at all.
No.
And we both kind of I think this is a delightful movie. Like if I had an 8-year-old, I'd show this to him.
Yeah.
Would you go down
It's
to 8?
a little gory.
Yeah, but 8-year-olds like that kind of gore. It's like stepping on a banana slug.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like gooiness.
Yeah, there's no like body parts. People aren't being torn asunder. Although there's a little look. It's like when they pull the head out from Ben Gardner's boat in Jaws. It's a beheaded head.
There's no beheaded. Oh, yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
There is a beheaded head.
There's a beheaded head.
Yeah, I don't know about 8 years old.
Oh man,
Because that 8-year-old will have nightmares.
not my 8-year-old.
I had nightmares when I saw Jaws when I wasn't supposed to.
My 8-year-old wouldn't have. My 8-year-old daughter would be very up on her horror history. Just so you know, I would start her at an early age.
Wasn't Sophie 10 when we met?
No, she was probably 12. Because she's 17 now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, I haven't. I showed her things you didn't want me to show her, probably.
You did. I was very careful about what they saw. And then you came into the picture and you just showed her everything. And then I was like, I don't know. I can't control this.
I didn't show her everything.
You showed her things that I wouldn't have shown her.
I'm never gonna. I'm getting the uncut Serbian film this week. I wouldn't show her that.
Please don't.
I won't. If she comes in here and takes something,
No, she won't.
What can I say? We got a letter about this. We did. We got a letter from guess who? Thomas Bartoldi.
Awesome.
Thomas wrote a letter. Hello, Rob and Liz, and let's not forget the rest of the PGS. I've been tasked this evening by the official American tourist travel agency to let you know of one of the best towns in all of America. I'm sure they'd like me to tell you that Perfection, Nevada is a wonderful place to visit, but a few of the people who have visited, may not be alive to tell you otherwise. Though the ones who are might be warning those that wish to visit to avoid this place. Tourism may even be at an all-time low, and that's understandable. I can't, in my right frame of mind, tell you with good confidence that you should visit. Would I visit? To the hell yes, I would. Perfection, Nevada is a small town pretty much in the middle of nowhere, it seems, and that is where our lovely little film called Tremors takes place. The film is a comedy and horror and sci-fi, and in my opinion, does it very well. The film opens with Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon, just on the job as repairmen. Let's call them Earl and Val. People die, and no one yet knows. A farmer's head is also found. We're also introduced to the lovely graduate student conducting tests in the area. She's played by the ever-so-lovely Finn Carter. She is the ever-so-lovely Rhonda. But after the rock slide traps our two repairmen, the film gets more interesting. We all soon discover worms in the ground are attracted by seismic activity. They're a little bit more than worms, son. We come to call these worms the graboid, an ancient species of sandworm according to some UFO site. However, this isn't the biological lesson on the evolution of sandworms. That's a different movie. Though in the first film, we are introduced to them as the first stage in their evolution. Later, our beloved characters humorously and cleverly pole vault from rock to escape being eaten. I love that shot when they all pole vault in tandem with the music. It was good. Yeah. Then we meet Bert and his wife Heather, played by Michael Gross and Reba McEntire, also my two favorite characters in the movie. Bert and his wife are survivors and come prepared to fight the graboids. Mm-hmm. This is when they fight back. Bert and Heather kill a worm in their basement. The movie has plenty of exploding worm guts for everyone. If Bert had anything to say, he might say, to hell with visiting Perfection, Nevada. Would you visit? Well, if I want my graboid hot toys and t-shirts, I'd say, when the hell are we going? It may be the best of all the Tremors movies, and I do love them all. It was surely a fun movie, and I can see why so many of the PGS enjoy the film. So thank you both for this wonderful evening. And if you drink every time someone mentions worm, we'd all be drunk. You know what? We weren't calling them worms, though. No. I mean, if they're really playing a drinking game, so every time we say worms, when I wasn't calling them worms because I was thinking not worms, I was thinking graboids. But were you thinking worms? Because if you're thinking worms,
I wasn't thinking
and we
worms,
were drinking all the
although
time.
Their phallic tentacles are kind of like worms.
Kind of like worms, but not really worms.
They're worm-like.
So you think they're drinking every time we say worms? Because I don't know.
They might be taking a drink every time we say worms.
Because if we say, you know that song?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. I'm going to eat some worms. Long, slim, slimy ones. Short, fat, juicy ones. Itsy, bitsy, fuzzy, wuzzy worms. Down goes the first one. Down goes the second one. Oh, how they wiggle and they squirm. Long, slim, slimy ones. Short, fat, juicy ones. Itsy, bitsy, fuzzy, wuzzy worms.
Babe, I love when you sing to me.
Do you like that? You know, I was a junior camp counselor. I know all the great songs for kids.
I loved the worm song.
Worm Song's Dune. Worm Song, the likes of which God himself has never seen. I guess when you say...
Here's to worms.
Here's to worms. We love worms. Come on and worm on worm. Everybody's doing it. Anyway. We don't drink every time someone mentions worm. We just drink.
We just drink whenever we feel like it.
Yeah, well, it says worm to me. I'm all about the worms.
We gotta finish the bottle of wine.
We do have to finish the bottle of wine, but we don't have to drink when we say worms. We can say anything we want.
That's right.
This comes from Michael. And Michael sends in us a quick letter. And he has a request.
Oh.
You know, I'm surprised. Now, if I say this, we're going to get inundated.
With requests.
But I'm surprised. Yeah, and by the way, we're not going to... No more requests. We ask for a viewer's choice. But I'm surprised we don't have...
We haven't done a viewer's choice in almost a year.
Should we do one? For Westerns?
We should do a viewer's choice. I thought it was so fun. Remember the last one? There was a tie between Long Kiss Goodnight and Zardoz. And we had 2 bottles of wine, and we were totally smashed, and we had so much fun. We
did have so much fun. So are you saying a new year?
A new year, a new viewer's choice.
So well, why don't we just make February
viewer's choice?
Yeah.
The whole month?
The whole month.
That's a lot of movies.
The month of February. We should just do the month of February will be viewer's choice.
That would be fun.
Yeah, because we got Valentine's Day in there.
What if they pick movies we don't want to see?
Well, no, we get to choose. Like viewer's choice, we'll pick them. Remember, we made a list. We made a schedule, right?
Well, people voted, and then we were given a list. Yes, and then we chose off of that list.
Yeah. Well, we should do that again.
We should. Viewer's choice.
Viewer's choice, everyone. The month of February.
Sorry, Richard.
What?
Because he has to organize the whole thing.
Oh. Well, okay. I don't know what to say about that. So there it is, man. Viewer's choice. But we're not watching any movies again. We're not doubling up.
No.
They have to be movies we haven't watched.
Yeah, movies we haven't seen.
So the month of February. There we go. Viewer's choice.
Black Phillip, I'm gonna suggest some messed up movies.
Yeah. So it'll be good because you know what we'll do? We'll do our westerns for the latter half of January.
Yes.
So we'll start. We should just do westerns for all of the rest of January.
I agree.
So we'll start our Western night, like if we'll do another one on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, I don't know what that is. And then Monday or Tuesday, whichever we do.
Okay, I'm starting school. Monday's fine because it's a holiday, but I'm thinking now it's going to have to be Wednesdays, Fridays, and either Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, I don't have classes Wednesdays. And then Fridays, I only have a class in the morning.
Okay.
But the other days are afternoon classes up until 7. So.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do, okay, that makes sense. So
Wednesday, Fridays, and one of the weekends.
So that when do you start school next week?
I start next week, but Monday I have off because it's a holiday.
Okay, so we'll do Monday.
We'll do Monday.
So Monday will be the beginning of westerns.
Yes.
And the thing is, we're going to delve into some classic westerns, like.
Also some modern ones.
Yeah, but like.
I think we should mix it up.
We will mix it up.
Okay.
But we have to watch I have some great westerns that you might not have seen.
I loved westerns growing up, so I've seen a few.
I will say this though, 2 of the westerns that we're going to watch. Actually, there's going to be 3 of the westerns we're going to watch. I will say right now, right off the bat, are going to be Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Silverado, and Unforgiven.
Oh, good.
So
I love all of those.
So we have to watch those because those are modern. Those will be our classic westerns, but I really want to go back and watch stuff like maybe High Noon, maybe My Darling Clementine, maybe Stagecoach, maybe The Searchers.
I want to be able to pick a few.
Yeah, you can. But we gotta really delve into the genre.
Yes, I agree.
But we're gonna end with Unforgiven because it is a deconstruction of the Western mythology. So we'll end with Unforgiven, which is not just one of my favorite westerns, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's really good. So we're gonna watch Unforgiven.
Okay.
And we have to watch Silverado because that
Yes.
was the beginning. It's such a populist western. Plus, I have the Blu-ray.
I loved that movie.
Silverado's great. It's great. So, we didn't even read. This spurned a conversation, but I didn't read it. So Michael wrote, "Whining about movies request. Open up your very finest bottle of wine for this one, Rob. Blade Runner, 1982. The atmosphere, the visuals, the score. I would absolutely love having it in an episode. Tears in the Rain. Thanks for everything you guys do. I love this series. Now, I showed you Blade Runner.
Yes, but we didn't do it for the show.
No, we didn't do it for the show.
No.
But that would definitely be part of viewer's choice if someone wants to vote on it, even though you've seen it.
Well, I've seen... Yeah, it's okay. It can be movies I've seen. We've talked about movies I've seen.
Yeah, but we didn't do Blade Runner for the show.
No.
No, I think if you've seen the movie, that's fine. We can watch it again.
Yeah.
But we haven't done Blade Runner for the show.
Right. No repeats of what we've already done for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I've seen it or not.
Yeah, no, that's for show. Let's see if anybody has. Let's go and see what people are. What are people saying? What are you guys saying? Let's see. I wonder if I should save these for the show tomorrow. I think I should save these for the show tomorrow because these chats are about what we said today on the show. So why don't we start and say, Dixon Snyder says, the movie was too much for me. I had enough of seeing long, thick, veiny worms slither into and burrow deep into random holes. So I turned it off and put on Tremors, starring Michael Gross and Kevin Bacon instead. I see what you did there, Dixon. Claudius Wellick says, bonsoir, Elliot, Elizabeth, Robert. I loved Reba McEntire and Michael Gross's characters, so you don't own any firearms. How about a 30-day stock of dried foods, a go bag with a burner phone, and a gold brick? Rob, please consult Ron Swanson's Pyramid of Greatness.
Yeah, no guns here.
No, you know what, though? I'm beginning... I had a gun.
Yes, I know.
My gun met an interesting fate. My 9mm Glock. My beautiful Glock that I could take apart and put together in pitch black.
What were you training for?
Whatever you need a gun for. I mean, look, if you're a gun owner...
Personally, I don't think you need a gun, so...
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Home defense, you know. We live in L.A. You just never know when something's going to happen. No, I think, look, if you're a firearm owner, you should know everything about your firearm.
But I'm not a firearm
But if you were, you know, like in Dawn of the Dead, you know, Fran and Steven or Peter trains them.
Well,
they learn to shoot.
If there's going to be zombies, then yes, I will get a gun.
Well, look, that's why I do believe that in terms of guns, I have no problem with a 6-month waiting period where you have to learn to be a responsible firearm owner. And you should be tested on all aspects of shooting. I don't understand why that's not a requirement.
I just don't understand why anybody needs a gun. If none of us had guns, then it wouldn't be a problem, would it?
Well, I mean there would be a lot of bad actors.
Okay, maybe it's because my parents are from Europe. Like, nobody in Europe has guns. There's no need. There's no need for guns because nobody has them.
Right. Right, but there's millions and millions and millions. There's more guns in this country than people.
That's true. And that's scary. I still don't want one.
No, but I'm just saying that if there was, I mean, you know, that's one of the things when I acquired my unregistered 9mm beautiful Glock. I wanted to learn everything about it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That's good. When we need one, which is never, at least you know how to handle it.
Oh, I do. Well, you know, again, when I was a kid, when I went to summer camp, YMCA, they taught us how to shoot.
What the hell?
Yeah, we learned how to shoot rifles.
YMCA?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's fun to stay at the Camp Orkila in Washington State.
Every summer I would go to summer camp at the YMCA.
No, they taught us how to shoot, and they also taught us...
I don't remember having that class.
They taught us shooting and archery.
I had swimming. I had cooking.
You didn't have an archery range? I got pretty good with a bow and a rifle.
Well, we did bow and arrow at summer camp, like sleepaway camp.
Yeah, that's what this was. But you didn't have a gun range?
The YMCA camp was like a day camp. It wasn't a...
Oh, no. Ours was, we went away and learned.
I went to sleepaway camp every summer, but I also went to the YMCA day camp.
Oh, no, we didn't have that. You went away. YMCA Camp Rockila was on Orcas Island.
Interesting.
So you go for weeks at a time. A week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever.
My sleepaway camp was called Camp Mohaven. Loved it.
Well, at YMCA camp, I learned to shoot and fire and hunt with an arrow, a bow and arrow. And
we learned to use a bow and arrow.
At the Flying Horseshoe Ranch, I learned to ride horses.
Yes, horses were my thing.
And that was, and could you saddle? We learned to saddle our own horses.
Learned to saddle.
So if there ever was a post-apocalyptic world like the Postman, I could shoot, I could hunt with an arrow, and I could ride horses.
Oh my God, we're in good hands then, babe.
So there you go.
There you go.
I don't know how do we get off on this conversation.
I don't know. But it's all Claudius's fault.
Claudius did it. We need a go bag and a burner phone, and yeah, that's because if you got to get out of Dodge quick, you need all those things. Claudius says, "The good, the bad, and the ugly." Translation for Elysabeth: le bon, le brut, and le tronde. Will Rob be humming the theme throughout the show? One of the great Outlaw Claudius. Oh, we got him on. During Western Month, will you be wearing your cowboy hats? I don't know.
I do have a cowboy hat.
I don't. I have to get a good cowboy hat.
Oh, I have one, and I used to love wearing it.
Well, that would be fun.
And I'm not a hat person, but I loved my cowboy hat.
Well, it would be fun if we could
dig it up.
If we could come up with our schedule beforehand and publish the schedule.
Yes.
We'll publish the schedule.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hat out. Good idea, Claude. Thank you.
I like that. We'll wear our 10-gallon hats. No,
yeah.
I don't have. I'd like to get a nice cowboy hat. I used to have a good cowboy hat.
Yeah. What happened to it?
Yeah. Well, things fall by the wayside. They get damaged or whatever. I think I lost my cowboy hat.
Maybe it's in one of these boxes.
It's not. No, my cowboy hat was great. I liked it. It was. I'll have to order one. Something nice. Stetson, real.
Oh boy.
No, it's important. You gotta look the part.
Important.
If we're gonna look the part, I think it'd be fun to wear cowboy hats for our.
Yeah. Well, you could wear one of those. What are those?
Yeah,
called?
my turquoise.
The
bolo tie.
Yes, that.
I used to have one of those too.
You could wear that.
As a matter of fact, like back in my new wavy, I did wear a bolo tie out to clubs sometimes.
Wow.
I did.
That's awesome.
But it wasn't like a Western thing, but it was yeah. Like my John Travolta figure. Well, I can't reach around and get it. But, it's right here. He's got a bolo tie on.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah. So here's my John Travolta.
You have to
wait,
change
I gotta
the
change the
camera.
thing. My John Travolta Pulp Fiction figure is actually wearing he is wearing a bolo tie. So you can see that. See, it wasn't like, people could wear.
That was, in the 90s, people would wear them.
Yeah, you could get away with that. It was kind of a thing.
Instead of a tie.
Yeah, I would do that. It wasn't turquoise. That's more of a Southwest thing.
Yeah.
With your little rattle. So I don't know. Maybe.
I could wear my cowboy boots, but nobody would see them.
No.
No?
No, I mean you don't would see them. I mean, it would be, unless you had
I thought you were
spurs.
saying no, don't wear them.
No, unless you had spurs and you're like clinking them.
I don't have spurs.
Well,
Well,
you could. Now I have another letter. Yes, I do.
okay.
And I don't know if I might have. Hang on. That's not the letter. This is kind of a long letter. This comes from Gil James Bavell. Gil Bavell writes in a letter. We made Gil Bavell's life when we did the 7 Faces of Dr. Lau.
But he's been asking for a long time.
Dear PGS, EGB, and Laser Bob. Do you know what they did to Laser Bob? It was you, me, and Laser Bob. Thanks for a great review of the 7 Faces of Dr. Lau the other day. What a fun show. I knew Liz would like it, and we had a most excellent watch party directly afterwards thanks to the Richard, who served up the lightest, most delicious buttery popcorn I've ever had. I joked that I half expected David Carradine to walk in from off screen and tell the people of Abalone, I am Cain, I will help you. Seriously, it was everything I hoped it would be and more.
Oh, good.
I'm so glad Elysabeth, Gwendolyn, Belle enjoyed the Charles Beaumont screenplay adaptation. It's a wonderful, positive, optimistic film that's fun for children of all ages. Indeed, the point of the film, I think, is that the people worth knowing and having as friends are those that never lost their innocence, their playfulness, and their curiosity, much like the imagination connoisseurs here in the Post-Geek Singularity. Now, maybe my next film, my next film recommendation won't take a year to materialize. In fact, while I have your undivided attention, may I take this opportunity to suggest one of my favorite films, Stuart Gordon's masterpiece, Dagon. My ex-wife designed that video cover for the DVD. A truly scary yet wondrous film that still captures the H.P. Lovecraft source material better than any other mainstream film. Dagon's tone, tension, and progressive spiral into madness is effective, never lets up, and takes the viewer on a journey that exemplifies the idea that, when you stare into the abyss, it stares back into you. And of course, I recommend most highly the cinematic adaptation by the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, The Whisperer in the Darkness, which is well worth getting from their website. The special features, DVD only, are a real treat and quite extensive. The Blu-ray version contains an HD version of the film, but unfortunately contains none of the bonus material that the DVD does, nor the subtitles. I include herein a link to the H.P. Lovecraft website and to the Whisper in the Darkness page. Considering it was made by fans, it's a remarkable film that was professionally acted, written, and even includes a third act to provide a proper climax, anti-climax, and a satisfying ending that the original story did not. All right, I'm going to put that into the live chat so you can experience this on your own. There you go. Did I mention that Charles Fort appears as a character? He plays the wide-eyed believer in the debate against the skeptical Miskatonic University professor Wilmarth, and Ford handedly wins, sending Wilmarth into the hills of Vermont to track down the strange Cartids that draw ever closer to Henry Ackley's farmhouse, who can hear the disturbing whispering woods about the plans that the goat with 1,000 young and its cultists have for mankind. This provides the members of the Post-Geek Singularity to purchase a copy of the film before you review it, or at least enjoy the Richards' legendary popcorn-dropping watch party of Whisper in the Darkness, so we can all enjoy the Whining About Movies episode about it. No, I get no financial consideration for suggesting everyone in the Post-Geek Singularity buy a copy, although you could do a lot worse. Although in the spirit of full disclosure, I am a member of the H.P. Lovecraft Society, mostly to support their film production work, which is top-notch. I'm sure it will take me another year to get Whisper in the Darkness to flicker across your screens, but better late than not at all. Rob, maybe you can buy a copy and vigorously suggest that the Richard also does also, as many of us can be accommodated that can enjoy the watch party beforehand. Thanks for reading my letter, and stay safe, my friends. Sincerely, Cardinal Sin Gear Bavel. Gear. Did I say Gear? Gil. I'm slurring his name. Gil Bavel. Thank you, sir. Cardinal Sin, thank you very, very much. 80s Claudius says, but did you have Z Cavarici or Bolo pants? I had some Z Cavarici pants. I didn't have any Bolo pants, though. Swack Props says, my suggestions for Western Week: Tombstone, Young Guns at 310 to you, the 310 to Yuma remake. You know what, though?
Yeah, that was good.
Those are good, but I think modern Westerns like that, like Tombstone I love, but I think we got to go back into the canon. Like, if we're going to do...
I think we should mix it up.
Well, that's what Silverado, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and Unforgiven do. I mean, if you're going to do 310 to Yuma, you can't do the remake.
Isn't Unforgiven a remake of an older...
No. No, it is not. No.
I think it is.
It is not. It is not. I can't believe you doubt me. Here's the last of this.
Thank you.
can't believe Jam. No, Unforgiven is an entirely original script by David Peoples. I'm just saying. No, it is. What do you mean maybe? It's totally an original script. It is original. All right, well listen, we are at time, babe. Mm-hmm. So we have to go to our scale.
Yes, our bottoms up scale.
And what is our bottoms up scale?
Our scale is from 1 to 4 glasses because there are 4 glasses in a bottle.
4 glasses in a bottle. And okay, on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, what would you give to Tremors?
I would give Tremors 3 glasses.
You know what? I too. I like Tremors a lot for what it is. I think it, again, authorship, it succeeds in doing exactly what it set out to do.
Yeah.
And I think it's a solid 3. It doesn't aspire to be 4.
No.
It aspired to do what it did, and what it did is it wanted to be a 3-star, 3-glass movie, and it is a 3-glass movie.
Yes. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Keaton Toothman, who worked on Flattened that you were watching at lunch today.
Oh my God.
Ace, I hear you enjoy Flattened. I love it. Love to hear it. Could you talk about Flattened?
Yeah, well, I haven't finished it because I started it maybe half an hour before your show was starting, so I didn't get to finish it. But I love that kind of humor. That's like right up my alley, so I was having a really good time watching it.
You were laughing out loud.
I was. I loved it. So I'm going to finish it, and I look forward to finish watching it.
Flattened is a movie that, for the Post-Geek Singularity, you know that we're having the Intergalactic Imagination Connoisseurs Film Festival on the channel, which is almost over, and you're going to start hearing from the judges, and then in about a week and a half, we're going to announce the semifinalists and then the winners, where you and I are going to have a show.
Yes.
Where we announce the winners.
An award show.
But Flattened is a feature-length movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's a feature-length movie.
Feature-length.
And I would encourage everyone to watch it. Now, I do apologize, although, Keaton, this is your problem. So there's a lot of music that wasn't cleared. So as soon as it went up onto YouTube, the algorithm took it away from me and said, you can't monetize this. And it said there's these songs that are copyright. There's strikes.
A lot of songs.
And so what they do is they put ads in it that are not my control at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to put ads every 30 minutes. They put tons of ads.
There's tons of ads, especially at the beginning.
Tons of ads at the beginning, which I profusely apologize for. I had no control over that, but it was because all of those ads, the ad revenue goes to the song writers, the people who own the song.
Oh, I see.
So there's nothing I can do about it.
So don't use music that's not licensed.
Actually, Claudia says The Treasure of the Sierra Madre or Stagecoach, both of those movies are definitely contenders.
I don't know if I've seen those.
Treasure of Sierra Madre and Stagecoach are 2 of the great westerns. I was kind of thinking My Darling Clementine as well. High Noon, Searchers,
We'll come up with a list.
But The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, it's great.
I'm excited. I love westerns, so.
Well, we're going to watch all the good ones.
We are.
We're going to watch all the good ones starting on Monday.
Yeah.
So we're going to do westerns till the end of the month.
Yes.
And then we're going to do all of February is Viewer's Choice.
Viewer's Choice. So suggest those movies.
Yep.
The Richard will keep track. Sorry, the Richard.
Well, okay, yes, maybe.
He did last time.
All right, well, we never tell him this. We just throw it at him.
I know.
Throw him off.
And
Poor
he's always
Richard.
so good about.
Yeah, throwing him in the deep end.
I know.
Well, because we just make this stuff up as we go along.
We do.
I mean, everyone's always asking, Rob, could you plan this stuff better? I'm like, plan?
We're both not planners. We're both spontaneous.
Well, I plan when I'm like working on a project. Like if I'm making a movie, it's plan,
Me too,
plan,
when
plan.
I'm in classes and things.
Yeah,
like
it's everything's
that,
planned, but the rest of the stuff, it's like
everything is spontaneous.
yeah,
Even like dinner, I don't even know until 5 minutes before I make it. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, Claudia says, regarding the subplot bad guy in sci-fi horror, remember Paul Reiser's Burke in Aliens or Michael Fassbender's Android? I actually find this trope annoying, and I think it made me like Tremors more. I agree. I agree. I mean, I think I don't like it when they set up characters that you're not supposed to like so they can kill them later.
Yeah.
I think that's a lazy writing trope.
It is.
And I because you already know that person's going to die.
Yeah, you do.
And I find it much more interesting when they play against
Plus,
that trope.
I don't like how it makes you feel, because then you're like rooting for this person to die, and then you think about it and you're like, wait, what was I just feeling right there?
They did that in the first episode of the second season of Star Trek Discovery. They
know.
introduced a douchebag character
Just to kill him off.
And I'm like, that to me was when I knew modern Star Trek was lost. To introduce a character that you want the audience to root for their death. I'm like, this show is so far removed from where it's supposed to be. I can't believe I brought up Star Trek Discovery, but when do I not?
Yep.
Claudius asks about Blazing Saddles. Again, though, that's a send-up of the Western genre. And we could watch it. I mean, it's very politically incorrect these days, but it's very, very funny. But I don't know. I mean,
I saw it at a screening within the past 5 years.
Well, yeah.
At the Autry, outdoors.
Yeah, I was not there.
You weren't there, but we were already dating. I went with some of my friends.
Oh, no. Where are the white women at? Apparently at the Autry watching Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we could. But then again, I think that when you start looking at parodies of things,
yeah, that's true.
It like I kind of want to keep it pure. But
what about The Gambler?
The Gambler, not really a Western, not an archetypical Western. There's so many There's so many good Westerns. Well, I think on that note, we will end this show.
We will.
And our next move, so we will have one more movie before we start Western Week.
What's our next movie?
I don't know yet.
Oh, we're not going to start Westerns now?
We start Westerns on Monday.
Oh, so we're going to do a film on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll do a film this weekend, Saturday or Sunday.
Great. Okay, fun.
We'll do one more.
Okay. And do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. I will come up with a movie for tomorrow. Well, is there a movie you want to watch? It is your show.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but I'm sure.
What if we watch Total Recall? You don't know. Oh, okay, that says enough. I get it. I was just going to say, okay, fine. That's fine. I'll watch it by myself.
I mean, I've seen it, and we can watch it together. I guess we could do that.
No, it's fine.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
All right, good, done. Because I want to watch this. I have not looked at this new transfer. Total Recall. We're going to celebrate Total Recall. That's what we're watching next. Come on, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. On Saturday. To clear the palate before yes,
Westerns?
Before Westerns. This is kind of a Western, sort of, in a way.
Sure.
Mars being the frontier. No, there's something to be said for this.
Okay, cool.
Total Recall on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings. So I want to thank all of our moderators. I want to thank Mike Bodden. I want to thank the Richard. I want to thank Justin Toner. I want to thank, I think Joshua Levesque is here, yes? Yes. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank all you guys for being great moderators. And I want to thank all of you for writing letters and everyone that submits super chats and tips and supports the channel. And if you want to write us letters, we love to read them. Please send them to the Burnettwork.net website and start sending in your suggestions. February will be a viewer's choice all month long. It's a short month.
Yeah, but it's going to be so fun.
It's going to be fun. So viewer's choice.
Suggest your movies.
Yeah, and remember, try and make it be movies that other people want to see.
Yeah. Well, I think last time Richard collected all the suggestions and then people voted on the Facebook page. People voted, and on Twitter too, I think. They voted for which films, and then the ones that got the most votes ended up on the list.
No, and I can throw that out to Twitter too. So we're gonna do that for whining about movies. So check it out.
Awesome.
Oh, you know what? Claudius Farrell says, Total Recall. Yes, I love Kate Beckinsale and Jessica Biel. You know what, dude? You're lucky I don't end the stream right now. Just so you know. That's he's talking about the remake.
Yeah, I was like, wait, Jessica
We're not watching
Biel?
the remake. We're watching Sharon Stone. Come on. And Rachel Tickerton. It's Paul Verhoeven.
I know who it is.
It's Showgirls. We're going to do another Paul Verhoeven movie. Because why not? So there you go.
There you go.
Why don't you take us out?
Yes, everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen.
And with that, we say what?
Have a better night.
Have a better night.
See you Saturday.
See you Saturday for Total Recall. And Monday begins
Western.
2 weeks of Westerns.
Yes, 2 weeks.
2 weeks of Westerns. Have a good evening. I'll see you all tomorrow on the John Campea Show and on Robservations episode 598. Yeesh. Have a good night.
Make your film suggestions for Viewers Month.
Viewers Month.
Viewers Month.
February is Viewers Choice Month all month long.